Bass dudettes, bass dudes, today we're going to be talking about bass solos and we're going to be looking at the top 10 bass solos of all time. So as bass players, there does eventually come a time where we have to think about the whole soloing thing. Now, traditionally, our primary function has always been one of support. And it's true that, we probably spend around 95% of our time underpinning the rest of the band, but there is a long list of amazing bass players that have really expanded the role of the bass and taken it into the realms of the soloist. So without further ado, here's my pick, my first pick of the top 10 bass solos of all time. So to kick things off, we are heading to London in the swinging 60s for a look at an absolute classic track by The Who. I'm sure that you can guess what it is. Obviously, My Generation. It was recorded in 1965 by the one and only John Entwistle. And I've got to say that nobody was doing what he was doing in this era. And it was in a pop song. Now that is just from a blues scale. That's like on an A flat minor. I think the original was G minor, but who knows? And he's really cranking that. He actually played, you'll see in this video, he plays around the bottom of the neck and he really, he gives it some welly. Check it out. Next up is Used to Be a Cha-Cha by the one and only Jaco Pastorius. And if our minds weren't already blown by Jaco's version of Donna Lee, Portrait of Tracy, Continuum, which all hit home in rapid succession on his 1976 debut album, get to the last track and that's when it really, for me, I heard that last track and it was just mind blown. So even on that first, that D minor there, and actually I should say that obviously Jaco was playing a jazz bass. He will have had the neck pickup cranked all the way off, bridge pickup all the way up, and that's how you get that tone, right? So on that D minor, he's got this again. Let's hear that. That's straight out of the D minor Dorian because it's got that natural six in it. So it's, what a great first statement to a solo. That phrase as well. Woof, and again. Just what a great phrase. And now he's into the melody, he's playing that melody again, which has come from earlier on in the tune. Another thing I would say about this solo is the way that he ends his phrases really cleanly. So for instance, on that first, that's it's at the end of a phrase, but he holds on that note. But very often when he's playing this solo, he'll and he'll really have a solid clean ending to each phrase. There, I'll check that phrase out. All of the stuff that I'm talking about, guys, I'm going to put links to them in the description so you can go and check them, the full versions out. So this next track was released in 1994 by the Brand New Heavies and it's called You Are the Universe with the killing Andrew Levy on bass. And this again is similar to My Generation. It is a pop song. Bass solos in pop songs, that's my kind of deal, right? This bass solo is killer. Let's listen to the entire thing, super short, and then we're just going to get into a little bit of dissection. Check it out, let me just hear that again. The chords on the chorus, which the bass solo is over, like a B flat major to an A dominant 7 to a D minor. On the top note, okay. So then, okay, is that? So it's the third of B flat major the third of A7, and then he plays into that D minor on that G minor there. Articulation's a lot here as well. He's not, it's, you know, he's digging in. Short notes. So on there, he's on that G minor, and then he goes back to that B flat. So root, 5 root, down to the root on the A7, and then just chromatically up to that D minor. Okay, so I couldn't put this list together without including the one and only Cliff Burton on Metallica's masterpiece, Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth, from the 1983 album, Kill 'Em All. Now, in this solo that you're going to see, it is ridiculously cool. It's like, when the first time I saw it, I was like, holy crap, this dude was just killing it. He's playing his Rickenbacker, he had a Morley wah pedal in, and then he had an Electro Harmonix Big Muff as well. So, like, just check this out. So good, right? So good. And there's a whole, like, the intro to the song is all this composed bass solo. You've got to check it out. So next up we have the one and only Billy Sheehan with Mr. Big's Addicted to That Rush. In the world of the late 80s, obviously US rock, Eddie Van Halen's virtuosic guitar playing ushered in a huge raft of big head, fleet-fingered shredders like Zakk Wylde, Marty Friedman. But ex-Dave Lee Roth bassist Billy Sheehan was also making a stand and proving that it wasn't just guitar players that got to have all the fun. And how many other metal bands started their songs with a bass player tapping solo? Seriously, just check this out. I loved that band when I was a kid. I love that band now. So the next one is a little bit personal to me because it is the reason why I kind of got into bass in the first place. I used to work at Overwater Basses as an apprentice luthier, making basses, and we were listening to an Alan Holdsworth album which was released in 1993, and suddenly out of the speakers came this amazing, I was like, what the heck is that? It was actually Skúli Sverrisson, an Icelandic bass player who I was lucky enough to go study with in New York one time. And this solo is just, for me, if somebody was like, what's the one bass solo you could just listen to for the rest of time? It is this. Check this out, it's beautiful. I don't even know where to start. Like, everything about that solo is so connected with the way that I play the bass, and like, it's been with me for, you know, since I started playing bass, which was like nearly, well, a little over 20 years ago. I've been listening to that. Everything from the way that I can remember wanting to do descending runs, sort of like the way that fluctuates in the line as I go down, and the way that the phrasing. So for me, the best bass solo of all time. With this solo, it was the first time I'd really heard anybody playing out as well. I can remember hearing it, said, whoa, what is that? And he's playing outside the harmony. I've got it, right? Check this out. When I first heard this, I was like, what the heck is that? Just like ridiculously amazing. Now, next up, we've got Jimmy Haslip with the Yellow Jackets, and the track is Jacket Town. And what I love about Jimmy is he's definitely got like a real big spoonful of blues influence in his playing. And you can hear that. He always uses a lot of that minor blues scale vocabulary. You can hear in his phrasing as well when he goes from when he just slips into those triplets. Check it out. There. Oh, it's like a mix of digital patterns as well. And then all the way. Whenever he plays, he's a really, really talented player. Really great. Now next up we've got somebody that you definitely will have heard of, Flea with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the track is Aeroplane. This was released on the 1995 album One Hot Minute, and that album kind of gets overlooked. I absolutely love it, and I think Flea's playing on this track is just, like, it is on point. For me, that opening phrase, that phrase there, that is really, like, obviously Flea is a trumpet player as well, and for me there's definitely that, it just sounds like a trumpet line for me. Check it out again. Great phrase as well. On a G7 here, and he's going from the minor third, which isn't in the, it's not in the chord, and then sliding it into that major third. For me, very trumpet-like. Okay, and then down to that flat 7. Chord tone central. Now we can't go any further with obviously getting Wooten in the game, Victor Wooten, and with this track it's Cherokee. Now this was from the 1997 album What Did He Say? It's a short track but it is steamingly good, and what's really amazing is Victor's phrasing. I'm going to click along so you can hear where the 2 and 4 is, okay, with this. Come on. To do that, it's mind-blowing. The guy's an alien. Like, if aliens exist, Victor Wooten's it. Now next up is a personal one for me because he was my teacher back in the day. It is the one and only Gary Willis, and this track is called Armageddon Blues. It's from the album Bent, but this track is the one. Hold on to your socks. Listen to how he develops this. Gary's thing is, like, when I was getting lessons from him, he was like, when you're playing a solo, don't play anything that's not related to something that you've just played. And this is a great example of it, and it is easy to miss, and it's really hard to do. His thoughts around this are that soloing is like it's a conversation. And this is a great example of this happening, okay? So this thing that he's doing now, it actually happens earlier on in the solo, and then he comes back to it, and then now we're going to listen to how he develops it. There. Hear that phrase? Go. He comes back to it, check it out. There it is again. There it is again. Developing the idea some more. And again. And again. And again. All of it's like related to each other, everything. Check it out. So that's it for this part 1 of the top 10 bass solos of all time. Help me out for the next one. Let me know in the comments what are your favourite bass solos. I would love to read through them, and hopefully I might be able to include some in the next episode or part 2 of this. That's George shaking himself in the background. George is a dog, by the way. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. And if you have already subscribed to the channel, make sure you go to scottsbasslessons.com and check it out. It is the ultimate online bass school for guys and girls like yourself, that bass players trying to get their bass playing to the next level. We've got over 45 amazing courses from some of the best bass players on the planet. Go to scottsbasslessons.com, grab that 14-day free trial. The link is below. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the shed.